Hello boys, welcome back to another session of online biology video tutorials. And this session is meant for class 11th biology students, and this is for 7th July 2021. As you know, you may recollect from your memory that we have been discussing about chapter number 3, Plant Kingdom. And we said yesterday that under this plant kingdom, based on presence and absence of seeds, the subkingdoms are cryptogame and phanerogame. Cryptogams are plants without seeds that include algae, bryophyta and pteridophyta. Whereas phanerogame or phanerogams are the plants with the seeds that include gymnosperms and angiosperms. So under that, we were discussing about various morphological, anatomical, physiological characteristics of algae. So in this session, we are going to further our discussion with reference to classification of algae. So basically, algae is classified into 3 classes. That is, class Chlorophysae. In general, since they are all green, we say green algae. Second class, Phaeophysae. That is brown algae because of the presence of brown color. And then third class is Rhodophysae, that is red algae because of again presence of red pigments like phycoerythrin. So based on the color and presence of major pigments, we classify algae into 3 classes: Chlorophysae, green algae; Phaeophysae, brown algae; Rhodophysae, red algae. Now, continuing with that, let us see the characteristics of class 1, that is Chlorophysae, green algae. So basically, these are unicellular. Whole body is made up of only one cell, and they form colonies, so colonial in nature. They have large ribbon-like structures. They are filamentous in nature, usually grass green due to the pigments chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. So presence of chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B in their chloroplasts make Chlorophysae green algae. So you must remember this, that which are the pigments that make green algae green, or why green algae is green in color. So for that, your answer should be presence of chlorophyll A and B in their chloroplasts. The chloroplast may be disc shape, discoid. You can see here the presence of chloroplast in the form of disc, plate-like, reticulate, cup-shaped, and spiral, spring, and ribbon-shaped. Okay, these are the various shapes of chloroplast. Depending upon the shape, again we segregate them. And these, of course, you can see the locomotory organs, flagellum or flagella is present. There is an eye spot. There is pyrenoid, nucleus, and of course a very big chloroplast. So depending upon the shape of the chloroplast, we have got different species. Most of them have one or more pyrenoids. What are pyrenoids? Storage bodies. They store food. So pyrenoids are storage foods located in the chloroplast. Pyrenoids contain proteins along with starch. Starch, of course, is a carbohydrate. So protein plus starch. Some algae store food as oil droplets, some fats. They have rigid cell wall made up of inner cellulose. Now this is important. Inner cellulose layer and outer pectose layer. So this is how the cell becomes rigid. So one of the examples that we can show is Chlamydomonas, and here you can see the presence of pyrimides, which are storage bodies. You can see the presence of chloroplast, which is cup shaped, and then nucleus, Golgi body, vacuoles, locomotor organs, flagellum, and another type of vacuoles, contractile vacuoles. There is presence of eye spot, and of course all powerful energy giving mitochondria, and rigid cell wall. This is what you need to remember, cellulose plus pectose, and then thylakoid membranes. So when you draw the diagram, label it, you must know the importance of each label. Like you are writing vacuole, what is the shape of it, what is the size of it, where is it located, what does it contain, what are the chemicals present inside it, and what is the function of it. This is how you must label and analyze each label. Then you have got the concept of that diagram completely. Continuing with the Chlorophysic, most of them have one or more pyrimides, that is food storage bodies, located in chloroplasts. Pyrimides contain protein besides starch. Some algae store food as oil droplets. They have rigid cell wall because of presence of, as we said, cellulose and pectose. Example, Chlamydomonas. Here you can see it looks like animal, but it is coming under algae, Chlorophyc in particular. Valvax, this valvax will form colonies. Elothrix, Spirogyra, ribbon-like structure, and Chara or Cara, a lot of protein rich. And most of them have one or more pyrimides, and of course we are having the same one. The only thing is we are showing other pictures like Elothrix, ribbon-like structures, Spirogyra, again ribbon-like structure, and Chara or Cara. So here you can see the branches. That means this is showing a type of evolutionary trend. It's going to become, in future, these are going to evolve into plants. That is the indication. And how do they reproduce? Vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. Okay? And vegetative reproduction by fragmentation. And it forms different types of spores. Now here you can see the fragmentation in Spirogyra. There is a ribbon-like structure with a septa, cytoplasmic cell wall. This gets broken, forms two pieces. Each piece will develop into an adult. That is fragmentation. Asexual reproduction or asexual reproduction, it is by the flagellated zoospores produced in zoosporangia. There is a structure called zoosporangia. So this zoosporangia will form what are known as zoospores, and these are flagellated, and this is released in the form of asexual reproduction. On the other hand, in sexual reproduction, isogamous, anisogamous, and oogamous. If you recollect from your memory, we said isogamous, both the gametes are of same size and shape. Anisogamous, one big, one small. Oogamous, one will be acting as a plus strain and minus strain, or male gamete and female gamete. And meiosis as well as mitosis, both will be there in that. And the mature cell will be developing in this fashion. So all the three types of reproduction will take place. Now we come to second class. Before we go to second class Phaeophyceae, we say Chlorophyceae has major pigments, chlorophyll A and B. Because of that, it is green algae. The stored food is starch. Cell wall is made up of cellulose and pectose. Flagella and its position 2 to 8, equal and apical. It is present in fresh water, brackish water, and salt water. Examples, of course, one common example you can remember is Chlamydomonas and Spirogyra, Elothrix, Valvax. At least two you remember. Next we go to second class, Phaeophyceae. As the name suggests, it's brown algae. Why is it brown? Because of presence of the major pigments, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, carotenoids, and most important is xanthophylls and fucoxanthin. In xanthophyle, again particularly this fucoxanthin is responsible for brown color. So Species belonging to this class of algae are brown in color because of the presence of a special pigment, xanthophyll pigment called fucoxanthin. So this is for NEET exam, you must remember. They are mostly marine. Okay, there we have seen freshwater. Here it is marine, means they grow in sea water or oceans. They show great variation in size and form. They range from simple branched filamentous forms, example ectocarpus, you can see the filamentous, to profusely branched forms like kelp, again very highly nutritive algae. It is used in many Ayurvedic medicines. Okay, and they are present, as I said, major pigments that are present in brown algae are chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C, carotenoids, xanthophylls. And it is basically brown in color. You can see the brown color. It is brown in color because of the presence of fucoxanthin. And food is stored as complex carbohydrates, laminarian or manatee. Vegetative cells have a cellulosic wall covered by gelatinous coating, algin. Now this is important, algin. Protoplast contains plastids, central vacuole and nucleus. Plant body is attached to substratum. Now here this attachment will be there in the form of holdfast. You can see because of the presence of this holdfast, the plant body is attached to the substratum in the sea and has a stalk-like structure, stipe, okay? And leaf-like photosynthetic organ called frond. Look at this, frond. Look at this. These are leaf-like photosynthetic structures. Example, ectocarpus, dictyota, laminaria, sargassum and fucus. So in this at least you can remember fucus, very easy, and laminaria. And the most important character that you must remember is presence of algin in the cell wall. Second you must remember is holdfast and stipe. Third you must remember is frond, photosynthetic in nature. Food is stored in this, as I said, complex carbohydrate. And examples we are giving ectocarpus. You can see presence of ectocarpus, sargassum, and see the color. Yeah? Brown in nature. How about reproduction? They undergo, like chlorophysic, here also in three forms they undergo reproduction: vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction. As it was, vegetative reproduction is through fragmentation. The parental organism will split and form fragments. Each fragment develops into an adult. That's fragmentation. Asexual reproduction, on the other hand, by pear-shaped biflagellate. Bi means two flagella. And the zoospore, because presence of flagella, they move, hence zoology, animal, study of animals. Zoospores, spores that have animal character, that is having flagella. They have unequal laterally attached flagella. The presence is this. You can see here, unequal lateral. Sexual reproduction, either of the three forms: isogamous, similar gametes; aniso, unequal gametes; oogamous, plus and minus strain, or male and female. You can see here, presence of male and female, they fuse and form zygote. And zygote will form sporophyte plant. So the sporophyte plant undergoes the diploid sporophytic, and they produce the sporangium. Sporangium will produce diploid spores. Diploid spore will generate and form an adult. This is asexual reproduction. Whereas in sexual reproduction, the sporophyte plant will give rise to unilocular form. You can see here, and the cells present in this unilocular form will undergo meiosis and form the haploid meiospores, and each haploid meiospore will form gametes or gametophyte. Each gametophyte forms male and female respective gametes. So they undergo, Phaeophysi undergo all types of reproduction. And next we go to Rhodophysi. before we go to rhodophycy, we say phaeophycy is a brown algae. It is brown because of presence of special pigment fucoxanthin of xanthophyll along with chlorophyll A and chlorophyll C. The food is stored in the form of mannitol and laminirin. Cell wall is made up of cellulose and algin. Remember, algin. And flagella, two unequal, present laterally. Habitat, as we said, seawater, salt water, brackish water, etc. Some exceptions will be there, very, very rare, fresh water also. So remember, sargassum. And now come to the last one, rhodophycy, red algae. They have a red thallus due to the red pigment phycoerythrin. Phycoerythrin is present. So in rhodophycy, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll D and phycoerythrin will be there. Because of the presence of red colored phycoerythrin, this algae is red algae. As you are seeing here, you can see presence of the red color, Polycyphenia. Now, majority are marine, especially in warmer areas. They occur in both well-lighted regions close to the surface of water and at great depths in oceans where relatively little light penetrates. So, they were present in the deep down in the sea. Most of them are multicellular, okay, unlike the chlorophycy, which are most of them are unicellular. Here there is evolution, there is a signal for evolution. Some have complex body organization. This is also evolutionary trend. The food is stored as floridin starch, which is structurally very similar to amylopectin and glycogen. This is, as far as biochemistry is concerned, again this is evolution. Example, Polycyphenia, Pyrophora, Gracilaria, and of course very famous Gelidium. So these are all coming under red algae. How about reproduction? As usual, like in chlorophycy and phaeophycy, reproduction undergoes in three forms: vegetative through fragmentation, asexual reproduction by non-motile spores. Okay, here sexual reproduction is oogamous, that is by non-motile gametes. Gametes are non-motile and it has complex post-fertilization developments. The moment the complexity is increasing means that is a positive sign for us because that is evolution. So if you see the life cycle of Polycyphenia, you have got what is called the tetrasporotetragonia, undergoes meiosis, forms tetraspores, tetra means 4, that will generate to gametophyte. Gametophyte will form two types, that is the spermatogonia or spermatia and carpogonia. So fusion of these spores will result in fertilization. Fertilization will result in formation of zygote and development of the carposporangia on gametophyte. And now the carposporophyte will form carposporangium, and this carposporangium will develop or will form carpospores. Now here you can see oogamous but non-motile. Look at that. They have no motile structures. So that's why we say non-motile. And comparison, common name, green algae, brown algae, red algae. Major pigments in chlorophycy, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, phaeophycy, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C and fucoxanthin. Because of that it is brown. And in rhodophycy, red algae, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll D and this one, phycoerythrin. Presence of this makes them red colored. In chlorophycy, stored food is in the form of starch, and we said in phaeophycy it is mannitol and laminirin, and in this case rhodophycy, floridin starch. Cell wall is made up of cellulose. Here in phaeophycy, cellulose plus algin. In rhodophycy it is cellulose plus, you must remember, pectin. Pectin also will be present. So you can note down pectin and polysulfate esters. And flagellar number and position in Chlorophyc, it is 2 to 8, they are equal apical position. In Phyophyc, 2 only, unequal position lateral. But here, just now we said, no locomotor organ, no flagella. Habitat, freshwater, most of the time, very less in salt water. Freshwater less, salt water and brackish water maximum. Here, salt water most of the time and brackish water, fresh water very less. So this is how we compare 3 classes of algae. Next time we will see Bryophyta. Until then, practice diagrams, draw beautifully, draw scientific diagrams, label it, understand each label. And I need not tell you, time and again I told you, when you are labeling the diagram, arrow marks should be towards the part